I haven't been intrigued by a Yeezy sneaker in a while, but when I caught wind of the 700 V3 silhouette, I knew I had to at least try to get my hands on a pair. After shooting a bunch of shots, I finally got lucky with this pair in the Azareth colorway for retail via a raffle win on sneakersnstuff, which was actually my first raffle win ever. The release of this pair was delayed a few days just given everything going on in the world, but eventually made it to my doorstep at a reasonable time in early September 2020. But before getting into it, I kindly ask you guys to drop a like on the video and check out the other sneaker content that I have on the channel, and even subscribe if you're interested. It only takes a second, and doing those things really helps to grow the channel. With my begging out of the way, we could start with the box. These come in that standard cardboard Yeezy box that's been around for the past few years now. Although the box does lack the boost text throughout, as these don't utilize adidas boost technology, but we'll touch on that later. Taking a look at the box label, you'll see that they're a pair of the Yeezy 700 V3 and a colorway of Azareth-Azareth. Retail price on these is $200, which is cheaper than the $220 retail price on the 700 MNVN or minivan, and $300 for the 700 V1 and V2 models. So this Azareth colorway was the third of the 700 V3s to drop, and like the first two, they take on a similar biblical naming scheme as those pairs. I'm not sure of the significance behind the Azareth name, maybe you guys could fill me in the comments, but what I can say is that I'm a sucker for a blue color like this. I don't even know how to fully describe it, but there's just something about this blue color in tandem with the wavy design lines that I really like. The actual material of the uppers is an engineered mesh, unlike adidas' signature prime knit that you'd expect. I wouldn't say this is the most breathable material compared to something like a prime knit, and it's likely because of the stiffer construction on here. Resting on top of the mesh is the skeletal-looking overlay that adidas claims to be a rigid polyurethane, or RPU. This RPU cage definitely gives the shoe more structure and stability, while also providing this cool, futuristic look. And oh yeah, did I mention that it glows in the dark? I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it, but it's definitely a quirky detail. Moving to the toe, it's a slightly textured rubber toe cap on here. While I'm kind of surprised that it uses a synthetic material instead of something like a leather or suede, it does flow well with the overall material usage on here quite nicely. Moving to the black neoprene-like tongue, it's connected to the blue upper, so it's essentially all one piece. This booty construction definitely creates a snug fit, which I'll talk more about in a few. At the bottom of the tongue though is a small hit of reflective material, which provides a nice bit of contrast if the light hits it right. And while chatting about the tongue, these have an infinity lacing system. The oddity here is that the laces are literally bound and held together by this rubber piece at the top. Oddly enough, in the box is an extra set of laces, but to put them in, you have to cut the already existing laces on the sneakers. Resting below all of this is this super chunky polyurethane encapsulated EVA foam midsole. Working in tandem with that is the typical ortholite insole that you'd find with most other Yeezy models. And then closing out is this rubber outsole with a herringbone traction pattern. As I mentioned earlier, unlike other Yeezy models, these do not utilize adidas boost technology. They definitely have much more of a stiff ride, and I think after a few hours of on-foot wear, I could definitely see them hurting my feet a bit, which is a bit nutty to think because of how thick and chunky these midsoles are. I also mentioned that these have a super snug fit, and it's through that booty-like structure that these take on. My standard shoe size is a 9.5, which is what I typically get in most New Balances and Jordans. But for these 700 V3s, I actually have them in a 10.5, which is a full size up. It wasn't by choice, rather it was an error from sneakersnstuff. I'd put down a US 10 and they sent me this 10.5 instead. In any case, I'm kind of glad these are in a 10.5 because I feel even a 10 would have been a bit snug. And TLDR, either go up half a size or even a full one for a comfortable fit. Overall, I really dig the futuristic look of these 700 V3s. There are no signs of inspiration from past runner silhouettes, these look to be an entirely new model for 2020. I know this look isn't for everybody, but to me it's almost like a next generation sneaker that's likely ahead of its time. Unlike other recent Yeezys with brown and earth tones, this blue color just pops. To me, I think it's definitely much more wearable and pleasing to the eye than other colorways. I will say that the nature of the shape on these and really any other Yeezy certainly makes my feet look massive. So if that look isn't for you, maybe it's best to stray away from the Yeezy model lineup entirely. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video as well, I haven't been feeling most of the recent Yeezys, and I actually haven't picked up a pair since my Zebra 350s back in late 2018. Since then, there have been so many Yeezys to drop that I've really just stopped paying attention to them in general. I guess it's a result of Kanye delivering on his promise of Yeezy sneakers being easily accessible to the masses, which is a whole different topic in itself. Aside from 350s, I've always been interested in the 700 V1 and V2s, but was never able to justify the $300 retail price. Personally, I think this V3 is the best of the 700 series. I'm not even saying that just because of the cheaper price. I think just overall, the radical design is unlike anything on the market right now, and even if you do think it's an ugly sneaker, you can't deny how unique these things look. And speaking of other Yeezys, I've always been interested in the 500 and 380 models, which are both also wild looking sneakers. I'm actually still on the hunt for both models, so if you see videos on the channel in the future about one of them, it's likely a byproduct of this 700 V3 pickup. And if you want a pair of these 700 V3s, I'd act fast because prices are only going to continue to hike up, especially heading into the holidays and beyond. Most Yeezys tend to appreciate in value over time, so I definitely recommend buying in while you can. For me, this pair is going straight to the toe, no ifs, ands, or buts. I think having these in rotation this year will be a nice refreshing change from the Dunks and Air Jordan 1s that I always seem to be picking up. But that wraps it up for this video. Let me know what you guys think of these Yeezys in the comments below. Is the 700 V3 silhouette a must-have for you? Is this something you'd wear? And if you don't like them, tell me why. I'd love to have a conversation about it. I've already asked for likes and subs from you guys at the beginning, so be sure to do so if you haven't already. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram at StuffDylanLikes. I've been picking up a lot recently, and that's always the first place I go to share. That's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next one.